Welcome to another ride to Trader Joe's. We're going to be going to the one on Crenshaw and PCH today. All right, we're going to be talking today about salsa, that word, the S word. There's a lot of discussion about this word. Some people say that salsa doesn't exist. And some people say that salsa is the name of the style of music that was developed mainly in New York, 70s mostly. And I gotta tell you, this is my own opinion, this is my own experience. So if you disagree, go ahead and post your comments. And remember, if you like this video, like it. And subscribe if you want. So, yeah. I'm gonna start by saying that Cuban music is the foundation of salsa. But Cuban music is not salsa. And I'm going to explain why. In the traditional Cuban music, they had other names for different rhythms. They had guaracha, son montuno, guaguancó, and cha-cha-cha, rumba Colombia, rumba yambú. Many styles that had a name because they were developed from African rhythms, and that doesn't mean that salsa is African music. That's another misconception. Salsa, the foundation of Cuban music is African music, but Cuban music is not African music, according to my book. Page 13, paragraph number 3. When I was growing up, I used to see records that had those rhythms, even from Puerto Rican band, but they called it by their name. They called guaracha, son montuno, etc. When in New York, the Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Jewish, white Americans, jazz guys, everybody got together and revived some of those rhythms that were originally Cuban, but now they were mixed with blues, they were mixed with jazz harmonies, they were mixed with funky beats. They were mixed with bomba, plena, also from Puerto Rico, and there were all kinds of people, from Latin America and North America, playing those gigs. So it was the melting pot, and somebody started calling it salsa. I think some people say that there's a song, Échale Salsita, which maybe was one of the first references to that mix of music becoming salsa. That was probably like somebody got the idea from that. I don't know. I think also the producer Jerry Masucci with the Fania All Stars had a lot to do with it, because as a businessman, he wanted to call this music something easy to remember. You know, he wanted to label it. You need like a label, like a brand, you know. So I think he was one of the ones who was calling it salsa. You gotta understand that it's like every music. When you say classical music with lowercase letter, it means okay. Got a Puerto Rico truck, PNR. No. Any symphonic music now, today, we call it classical music, and that includes Baroque, Romantic, the music from the classical period per se, and music from the 20th century, which they're all different, but they have one thing in common, and it's that they're played by a symphonic orchestra. So you could have classical music that was written in 2003, because it's still considered classical with a lowercase as a general style. What happened in New York is very interesting, because that's where I think salsa, in my opinion, is actually from New York. It was born in New York, and the best salsa is always coming from New York. And I'm Puerto Rican. I don't mean that in Puerto Rico we don't play great salsa. But when you hear the salsa from Puerto Rico, you can tell it's from Puerto Rico, because it has a certain flavor to it. And I'm not saying it's bad or bad taste or anything like that. It's like food, you know, Mexican food, but if you make it in Canada, it's gonna have a different flavor than if you make it in Mexico City. Not only that, but if you make it in Mexico City, it's not gonna taste the same as if it's made in Guadalajara. So that's the thing, you know, we must understand and not be close-minded and say that salsa doesn't exist. That's a word, you know, like a salsa is something you eat, and guaguancó or montuno is what you listen to. No, salsa is a style of music, and it's a hybrid style. It has to have that mix. So here we are at the Home Depot. Yeah, my favorite store. Not this one, but I come to buy all my screws and basically my camera gear too. Some purists, close-minded people, claim that there's no salsa. There's only guaguancó, some montuno, and that's not true, because if you hear a guaguancó or some montuno from Cuba, old Cuban music, I'm not traditional, I'm not talking about new timba styles and everything. Timba is kind of like a salsa too, because it mixes, you know, rap, funky, jazz, a little bit of active bass lines. When you hear Los Bam Bam, when you hear NG La Banda, you hear that great bass player Feliciano Arango, which is one of my favorite, playing all this you know, is hybrid style also. And like Richie Ray mentioned it in his video, I don't know if you saw that video, that he was playing Sonido Bestial. That's one of the best examples. He starts with the then he goes into this, he plays a piece of classical music, and then he plays some bluesy part with no piano, you know, and then they go back to the guaguancó. And then he mentioned it. He said, it is the mix. Just like in food, when you mix tomatoes and jalapenos and onions and all that good stuff, of course, the canvas is Cuban music. You know, you cannot deny that. It's Cuban rhythms, you know, and African, but not so much African. When you mix it with African, with traditional African, then you get salsa too, like Willie Colon, you know, mixed it with some authentic African music, like when that song he just took that from the African folklore and mixed it with some plena, which is African too. You know, plena in Puerto Rico came from the slaves. You know, they used to play it. But of course, because we don't have any written history of that, we don't know exactly where it came from. That's my video for today. I'm getting close to Trader Joe's here. And oh, I think Trader is on the other side. So yeah, when somebody is offended by if you name Let's Play Salsa, it's mainly ignorance. You cannot you cannot have such a closed mind that where am I? Okay, we're gonna have to jump this sidewalk here. I think Trader Joe's. Where is Trader Joe's? I got lost. All right, so there's Trader Joe's here. Where is it? Oh, I think it's on the other side. On that side. So here we are. So I hope you enjoyed this video. So remember, my music is for sale at cdbaby.com. I have Latin jazz mainly, and also ballads and other styles. It's a salsa. Okay. So thank you for listening. Like and subscribe. See you next time.